not regarding traffic tickets, but I heard you say on your show one time that a man is a person and a person is a man.
No, I say that. No,
Yeah.
a person is a man. No. A person is a man. A man isn't a person. A man could be Gilligan's Island and live in a private island, and he has no duty and he's got no title ascribed to him in which he can be imposed if he fails to perform that duty. No. A person is a man, but no, a man does not have to be a person.
Okay.
A man doesn't.
A person is a man.
Like a man can be like a man can be a judge, but a judge is definitely a man. You see what I'm saying? The person. You see what I'm saying? Like a person is a man. A judge is a man. But
no,
a man.
I heard on some of your shows before when you were saying like about that, and I see what you're talking about like that. You know what you're saying there. But I know on some of your shows you said it all depends on what you believe, right?
Okay.
Or you talk about believe, because I listen to you a lot. Okay, trust me, I have listened to a lot of your shows. So I want to learn from the other side of not being a quote-unquote defendant, but being a claimant. And
right.
and my belief, I know, because I believe in Scripture, okay? And in the Scripture, there's nowhere in the Scripture where it says God created person.
Okay.
But God created man.
Okay.
So how could person be man if God never created person?
Okay.
Person and that's my belief, okay?
All right. Like I said, person is a man. Like I said,
not in the Scripture.
Okay. Okay. Now, the Quran might say something. Buddha might say something. The Lucky Charm self might say something. That's your interpretation. It's your belief. I don't doubt you believe. I don't doubt you believe.
Right, and that's I know you talk a lot about that belief. If you believe that, they can't doubt your belief.
Right, and if the rest of society...
A person could be a corporation also.
A person can be anything they make because of statutory construction. They can make it. They can make it be a leaf if they wanted to.
A person could be the cell phone that you're talking on right now.
Yeah.
If you can convince a jury, which I'm sure I can convince a jury that phone that you're talking on is a man, I guarantee I can convince them that too. So what does that prove? That I could convince people what to believe in?
It's just that when I've gone to court before, I've always separated me from the fiction or the person that they say that I'm supposed to be. When they talk about the person, I've always separated me from that. It's always worked for me that way. And when the judge would go in the direction of trying to convince me about different things, and I would remind him of and like you said, when you talked about here tonight about you have to go into court and argue. You know, why would you go to court if you don't argue?
Right.
But I never argue. I always win. I never argue.
Do you never make your point crystal clear?
Oh, I make it clear, but I never argue.
That's what argue means.
But I never argue. I never make a statement. I never argue. I always ask questions.
Okay, like I said, if you go to etymology.com, just Google the word argue, and it says to make clear, to make known, to demonstrate. You demonstrated that
if I'm asking questions, then
you demonstrated.
I'm arguing according to etymology online, but according to how attorneys look at it, they look at it from a different standpoint, not asking questions, but making their point by creating some kind of controversy, and that's what I've always understood argument was in regard to, statutory construction.
The only problem is attorneys never appear in court.
Why, I suppose you'd have to look at the word appear.
They can't appear. Why? Because they've never testified under oath affirmation, and they're saying it's true. They can't be held liable because they never said anything in court.
Well, one time I was in court. This is in Riverside, California, and there was a public defender. That was when I was first going through this crap I was going through back in 1999.
Did they speak?
Well, the attorney was speaking.
How can they speak unless they've been sworn in? That all the facts and evidence they're going to bring before the court.
The judge would never let me talk.
I didn't ask you that. I asked you why didn't you swear in and why didn't they swear in?
Oh, you're talking about swearing in on the stand?
Swearing in. You could swear in right there. You could say to the judge, hey, before we start this trial, I think before anybody brings any facts or evidence before this court, I think it would probably be a good idea for everybody to swear in.
But it wasn't a trial.
Okay,
it's all
whatever
preliminary stuff prior to.
Okay, it's the preliminary stuff. The preliminary things. Hey, you know what? Before anybody speaks in this deli or this grocery store or the 7-Eleven, and they want to try to create a record here, and they want to try to present any facts and evidence, I think we better all swear that everything we're saying is the truth, so I could hold everybody fucking liable for everything that they're saying. Because if somebody's lying, they're wasting my time. If somebody's bringing something into the public that's not true, I'm going to hold them liable. So is everybody ready to speak now in the public? I don't care where we are. If anybody wants to utter something and produce something and bring something into the public, like you want to bring typhoid or pestilence or famine or plague into the public, I'm going to hold you liable. You want to bring harm into the public or injure somebody in the public, I'm going to hold you liable. So before you open your mouth in the public, hey, I think wouldn't it be a good idea for everybody to verify under oath or affirmation that everything we're saying is true and it's going to cause no harm? Wouldn't that be a good idea to start getting that to your brain?
Well, wouldn't you feel better if you agreed with them instead of arguing?
No, absolutely not. Why would I want to agree with somebody who's not there? The attorney has to. No,
that's the way I do it.
First, the attorney has to prove that he exists there because you want to hold him liable if he's saying something that's not true. I don't want to talk to a man that I can't hold liable. Why would I want to talk to a man that's going to be able to think he's going to sneak, lying, and cheat, and I'm not going to hold him liable?
Then put on the record that he's sneaking, lying, and cheating.
No, I don't do that. I ask him, will he be, before he even takes, he can't be, okay. How could he cheat, sneak, and lie if he hasn't said anything yet, if he hasn't sworn that everything he's going to say is true?
I don't. As a matter of fact, I hope they never say anything. That's usually when I go to court. I hope they never say anything. Because and I agree with them.
Like, why would I want to agree with a legal fiction?
That's what I do all the time.
I want to agree with a man. Good. If you want to agree to a tree or a porcupine,
it was one of the ones that you do on Saturday. Oh no, it was on the internet. It's a YouTube. Somebody put on YouTube. I was like, you have a lot of YouTube stuff I've looked at, which is really good, by the way. Really good. I like it. And one of them you were talking about. They were talking. I don't know if you talked about it or they put it on there about Matthew 5:25, about the Matrix, about. I think you're talking about a lot of stuff too. And in Matthew 5:25 is agreeing with your adversary.
No, that's not. It doesn't agree with your adversary in Matthew. Old Matthew asks Jesus. The old Jewish way is, how do we bring up fellow man into court? And Matthew says the old way was that you ask your friend to settle a debt. When he doesn't do it, you bring a friend. When the friend won't convince the guy, then you go get the clergy. When the clergy can't do it, then you bring him to court. Jesus, how do you say we settle a debt with our fellow man? And Jesus said you ask him 7 times 70, which means you ask him 10,000 times before you bring your brother to court. Because you know what? You forgive him of your debt. You forgive him of his debt. Just as you wish him to forgive you of your trespass, you forgive him of his.
Yeah, we're going through right now with someone that's connected to a family member who ended up going through an issue with parent dying and leaving some funds, and the family members are battling each other, and I'm going like, hey, look, you guys are Christians, just like what you said, Carl. I told him, that's what you need to go through. Start first with your brother and then work your way up until nothing goes on. Then you eventually get into court. But if you can settle it beforehand, that's what you do. Well, what I was talking about is Matthew 5:25, where it says, agree with thine adversary quickly before they take it to court. The judge hands you the bailiff puts you in the jail and take everything down to your last farthing. Yeah. And the question is, how do you argue and agree with them?
Wait a second. No, I argue to make my point crystal clear and to make it known to the world. I'm yelling my point out to the world. I'm letting the world and the gods above me in an open form hear me loud and clear. This is how I stand. This is my position. This is what I believe is true. Now condemn me if you wish, but this is what I believe. And that's what argue means.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it means. I'm stating my point of view out to the world in an open form, and that's where the open form is supposed to be open to the sky for all the gods to witness. That's all. And I just said, this is now, do you people, my judges, do you believe me? Or do you believe this guy? Now let him argue his point. But there's nothing bad about arguing, because you're going to bring your beliefs forward, and I'm going to bring mine. You say you want to agree with the legal fiction. I don't want to agree with the legal fiction. You know, I don't want to agree with a porcupine, a pencil, or a Q-tip. I don't give a damn. I only want to agree with, if I want to make an agreement, it's going to be with my fellow man. Not an attorney.
I have never been a claimant. So I've always been a court as a defendant, so they were after me. They were asking me a bunch of questions.
Well, now you're going to have
what you're saying about the arguing, yeah, I could see that from the claimant's viewpoint because you have to make your point and like that. But if you're a defendant, what they call a defendant, okay, in there, and I kept telling them I was not the defendant when I was in there. I separated me from the defendant, but and I wasn't even telling them that. I was pretty much asking them, and when I was going through the process that I was going through, I was pretty much learning. This was back in the 1999, 2000, and I didn't know a whole heck of a lot because I'd never been through court before. Never been through that before. This is new to me. And I had people teaching me stuff, but they were laughing at me because they were teaching the commercial process at the time. And that wasn't working for me. That's what got me arrested. And so I was going back and forth. What worked for me and got me through the crap that I was going through to get me out of the court, out of the jail, and eventually, actually, the commissioners and judges didn't want me in their courtrooms anymore. Didn't want me there.
Why don't you just make it a lot more fun instead of being defendant, which I tell people is like being a rabbit being chased by a hunter. Why don't you be if you want to be the rabbit, why don't you pick up a gun and hunt them back? Why don't you pursue them?
Well, see, I didn't know that back then, but it was traffic tickets. I got arrested for doing something on the commercial process in court because of a traffic ticket. I said, I'm tired of this. I had like 12 or 15 traffic tickets out there I never paid, and I used to get traffic tickets all the time. I had a 6-speed stick Trans Am, looked like a Batmobile, so I used to get tickets all the time. But fortunately, a few of them, I got out of them. I was doing 110 and 55 miles an hour between Laughlin and Las Vegas. Got a ticket for doing 92 as I coasted down. But fortunately, I knew the justice of the peace, and he explained a few things to me when I went to the court. It was a guy who attended my wedding when I got married years ago.
Hey,
that was an interesting conversation, by the way.
That's where Sam Kennison died.
Where in Laughlin?
The Laughlin run to Vegas. I used to do 100 miles an hour.
Run from Laughlin to Las Vegas. Yeah, it goes to Searchlight.
Yep, that's where he died.
Yeah.
No, the Laughlin, that's the California one. The Laughlin side is the Arizona side.
Oh, yeah, I went from Laughlin to Las Vegas through Searchlight.
Yeah.
And that's where I got the ticket in that little town where you have to go 15 miles an hour through the whole town, and after that it was 55. I didn't know it was at night, and I was doing 110. And I got caught by a cop going the opposite way, highway patrol, but I ended up having a really interesting conversation with a guy I hadn't seen in years, and he happened to be the justice of the peace there that I had to go see. And fortunately, he got me out of it. But, at that point, it was who you know, not what you know.
Right, but instead of playing the defendant all the time, the problem with being defendant all the time is you're just empowering the government prosecutors to feel that they can compel a performance from you. And I'm just saying, wait a second, buddy, you're my public servant, right? I'm the man here. You're the public servant. Why in God's holy green earth do you think that you have the right to ask me anything? You have no rights. You have duties, obligations, responsibility. I'm a man. I have rights. You don't. You work for me. So if you got a legitimate claim, you got a valid cause of action, you got the wrong, you think it's speeding. Now, where's the corpus delicti? Where's the harmed party? Where's the injured man? There ain't one, then I'm going home. That's it, I'm done. How many elements of a valid cause of action? 2. The wrong and the injured person. Who's the injured person? Nobody. If they're injured person, which is not a harmed person, is there an injured person? Then give me the bill and I'll pay the debt. If not, I'm going home. You work for me. I make this stuff so quick and simple, it's scary. I mean, I love you guys.
And that has worked from defendant to turning it around like that in the arraignment.
In a heartbeat. Why bother? I mean, you guys love it, man. You guys just love, I love you.
But then in the arraignment, the cop's not there.
What arraignment? In the arraignment, You seen what I did with Gordon Hall. Poor Gordon Hall tried to be an arraignment judge. And all I went in there and say, I'm a man, I'm here to settle any debt. Is there a claim before this court? Yes and no. It's like, this is not a claim, this is a complaint. A claim would be the wrong, that's fine, I spent, but where's the injured party? So I can compensate the harm of the wrong. I can compensate the injured party, and I can be on my way. Are you telling me there is no injured party? Then you don't have a valid claim. You do not have a valid cause of action. I wish to be discharged.
So you've done that in New York?
Do it every freaking way. My rap sheet hits the floor and rolls. Some black guy from St. Louis.
Have you ever done that in California? In this corrupt state called California?
Okay, everybody.
Because I did that back in 1999, and they lied and arrested me.
Everybody tells me it's so freaking corrupt, and I get people's kids back with them in 2 sentences or less. And you don't think it's hard to get children back? And I could do it in 2 sentences, and everybody goes home. They're not as corrupt as you think they are. If you know what you're doing, and you walk into the court and you act like a man, they will bow down. You just don't know how to act like a man.
You know what they did to me? Did you say there about the claim? I asked about the claim. I asked about the corporate lifestyle, the damaged party.
About the claim. You don't ask about a claim. You make your argument crystal clear. If there is a man here that I've caused harm or wrong to, let him make himself known.
I asked that back in 1999.
Okay.
You know what they did? They said, please sit down.
That's right, because you didn't put it in writing.
And I didn't know what I was doing.
That's right.
I did something else previously. And then when I went in there, what they did, they left me till last.
Okay.
And then they lied on the paper to arrest me.
Okay. Is there a reason why you didn't use a piece of paper to place your answer properly before the court?
Because they had chains around me.
Okay, that's why I said to Gordon Hall one more time, and I'll tell you one more time. Watch the trial of the regicides. They beat this attorney mercilessly for weeks on end. You better believe when he walked into that court, he was beaten bloody. And the first thing he said, I require leave of paper, pen, and ink so I can properly answer this court. Now, I don't know how many times I have to tell you people this, to shut your mouth, to go into the court and put that in writing. Because I'm telling you, when I came here to British Columbia, when I came here to Canada, I was put on trial 2 days after I got into this country. And the worst thing that they said, after all the shows that I said, when the RCMP took the stand, they said the most powerful thing that Carl's telling people to do is to shut their mouths in open court and put everything in writing. Do not answer anybody in the court. Make sure you put it in writing so there's no miscommunication between you and the court. And the judge was like, okay, that sounds like a pretty damn good idea. I don't want to hear these free men babbling off for hours anyway. You know what? That sounds great.
It sounds like you've never been in the Riverside, California court.
Okay, sir, let me tell you, I was put on trial here in Canada to be deported, to being a terrorist, an enemy of the state, okay? Now, I'm not talking about some flunky traffic ticket in Riverside, okay? I was put on trial here a couple of days after I got here, and they said, that's lovely. They can't find anything wrong with my game, or I would not be sitting in Canada right now. I would have been deported. Okay? So I think I know what I'm doing. But thank you for, it's great that, you're out there slugging it and you're trying it. But like you said, it was 1999 and you know what the hell you're doing. So hopefully now you're listening to my stuff and you're doing it in 2 sentences or less on paper, in writing, and keeping your mouth closed in court. Because it's not your court. It's their court. Watch Alice in Wonderland. No matter how good Alice played the game of croquet, the queen changed the rules. She lied, she stole, she cheated, and it was totally kosher because it's her court. She can do whatever the hell she wants. And you people don't like what they're doing, you know what you need to do? Establish your own court, make your own case, and file them as a defendant. And you be the prosecutor. And see how they like it.
So let me ask you a question, Carl, in respect to what you just said, okay? Because I'm learning. I'm listening to you. I'm hearing all this stuff, and I listen to more. I watch more videos of you. I think I know you now. I know every hair on your head.
When will I get the Swedish bikini volleyball team telling me this?
Later. Later. Okay? But the thing is...
You'll get yours, Carl.
Thing is, here's the issue here.
In heaven, you'll get it.
Angela can tell you she's in California, okay? Angela can tell you she's in California. Thing is,
you know what? Everything he says is absolutely correct, and I don't care what state you're in. they don't know what to do. They don't know how to handle it when you stand up for yourself and come off like Karl says. Because I've been doing it for a long time, not realizing. I just stood up for myself. You know, people come to my door. I learned from John. Well, I learned a little bit from everybody. You know, we've done so many calls. But I think he's right. You know, if you'd have put it in writing first.
Well, you know, back then I made my mistakes. Today, today I do it a little bit different than Karl does, but it's what Karl is talking about. And I do a little bit different, and I never lose. I always win it. But the thing is, California, they're so corrupt when there's an arraignment. If such arraignment is not a court of record and it's not recorded, they will do anything their heart desires. They don't care what paper you filed.
Oh, yeah.
They can care less. You lied about me 3 times to arrest me on paper.
All right. Let Karl talk now, Dallas.
Like I said, look at the simple thing. When I came, the first trial, I came to help these couple in here in BC, in British Columbia. The very first one, it was so funny. The judge was really interested in my stuff, and she really wanted to keep going on with studying about me and what I'm doing, which was, to me, this is not what I came to Canada for. I came here to help these people who had, problems with their lives, not to concentrate on the Crown trying to figure out who I am. And it was so funny. I do this on the drop of a hat. The judge said to the lady, well, we'd like to do this again next week for another preliminary trial. He said to the man, are you going to be here? He says, no, I'm going to be working. You know, I do electricity. Asked the woman, are you going to be here? No, I got to take care of kids. She asked me, are you going to be here? I said, of course I'm going to be here. Where else can I possibly be but here? I will never be there. I will always be here. So it says that the attorney for the other side, see, he's being sarcastic and argumentative in court. It's like, no. She asked me a question. Am I going to be here? What other option do I have other than to say, I am here. I'm always here. I can never be there. No matter where I am, I will always be here.
You were right. 100%.
Right. But so is
it's called living in the now, right?
For whatever. It says, I'm always answering the question and never saying the other person, the other husband and wife that came in there said, no, I'm not going to be here. No, I got to babysit. No, I got to work. I said, yes, I'm always going to be. I always say it with I always never say the negative. I never say no. I say, well, of course. Where else can I be but here? So you got to do it on the seat of your pants. You know, obviously the answer should have been, no, ma'am, I'm going to be in Calgary next week. That's honestly what I really believed I was going to be in Calgary. But you can't say no
in the future.
But you can't say no in open court. It's that conditionally acceptance. It's that you have to always kind of take the offer and say, okay, possibly I'll be here, maybe next week, definitely. But the first person who says no, yeah, right, offer, counter offer. You can't say no. The first one who says no loses.
Yeah.
That's dishonorable.
Yeah.
Now the fight is on. He said, do you want to negotiate with me anymore? No. Okay, then the fight is on.
Well, you see, Karl, you are a breath of fresh air, okay? You are a breath of fresh air. All this crap that we've heard.
Not after
trial. That would have been good.
Well, not after. I'm not a breath of fresh air after a night of heavy taco eating.
Well, that's okay. I'm in California. You're out in Canada, so that's fine. But the thing is, you know, a lot of people make it so complicated. And I mean, I do things a little bit differently than you do in court, but I still, like you, I keep it simple. I don't use their rules unless I'm using it against them. That's all I do. I don't use it for me. I never use it for me. I never file paperwork. I just do it by just talking to them. And but the thing is, like you said, you got to keep it simple, and people make it so dang complicated, and it's not hard. And for me, I'm learning how to do it with paper. I've never done it with paper. I've always done it by speaking, but with paper and as a claimant, and reminding me of being the claimant that way. And,
I just put one notice into their case. I give them fair warning. Are you sure you really want to be doing this to me? You know, I'll give you fair warning before I open up my case against you. Are you sure you really want to pursue me? You know, somebody said that to me the other day. They said, you got to get a business card. Say, my name is Karl Lentz. Google me, and you'll find out who I am. Are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah. Well,
So, like
I thought I'd come on and, give that little bit of, like you said, somebody who disagrees with you on a few things, and kind of ask a few questions here, and with some of the things I've heard so far, and I never get to really be on the live calls a whole lot lately. So I was listening tonight. I heard you were on. I'm like, oh, I got to hurry up doing what I'm doing so I can get on the call. And when I heard you talk about some of the things, I wanted to talk about that. So kind of get some things cleared up. But I agree with you to keep it simple. That's the main rule. People just make it so complicated to get into the world's laws and codes and statutes that they don't need to get into, and because we're a man. I remember the judge asking me questions about stuff like that, and I'm going like, they wanted to put an attorney on me. I said, I don't need any attorney. I don't need one. Get them away from me. Keep them away from me. Whatever. I don't need attorneys. I can do it on my own.
The only problem is, Dallas, and this is what I'm trying to get people to understand, is the judge to me or a prosecutor to me is still a man. And if a man is trying to tell me what to do, it's like, sir, are you trying to give me legal advice? Sir, are you a party to this case? Sir, is there a reason why you're speaking to me? You want to be held liable for what you want to speak to me? You're going to have to swear in, just like everybody else, that what you're testifying is true. I'm not going to just speak to a fictional entity. I will speak to a man. And when a man commits fraud or tries to defraud me of my rights or my property, I am going to hold him liable. So, do you wish to speak to me, sir? Not behind a robe and not behind a bench. Would you like to talk to me man to man? I'll be more than glad to entertain any proposition, proposal, or offer from any man, any of my fellow man of mankind. Is there anything I could help you with today, sir? Can I aid and help you in any way? If not, I have no business with you.
Karl, to prove what you're saying right there, back in 1999 when I went to the court in Riverside, and I asked the commissioner if he had a claim against me, and he said, I do not have a personal claim against you. He knew that I was mano a mano.
Right.
He said, I do not have a personal claim against you. They know. They know. They just, and even Justice Lapeace, I talked to, the guy that I knew, and before he died, he used to tell me some stuff about what they do in the courtroom, and it was just interesting. They know what they're doing. They're taught, and they know how far to go, and they know who's doing what and whether or not they're doing it right.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like I said, when I say to people, like I tell them of Blackstone's commentary, when I say 378, when I say the plaintiff must appear, it says if the plaintiff does not appear, no verdict can be given. But if the plaintiff is said to be non sequitur, if he fails to pursue his claim. So what I try to tell people is, do you understand that the plaintiff is bound to appear in court? So in case he fails to file his suit, and he's punished for filing a false claim. So if the plaintiff does not appear, no verdict can be given. So if the state of California is supposed to be the plaintiff, and the plaintiff doesn't appear, at least for the verdict, no verdict can be given. You see what I'm saying? Because if he fails in his case, in his suit, as punishment, he's going to get punished for his false claim. So I want the plaintiff to be there so I could punish him for filing a false claim against me. And that's in Blackstone's commentary, Volume 3, Chapter 23, Section 378 of Trial by Jury. And this is what I tell people all the time. I said, if the jury has at its own hazard the complicated questions of fact and law, and without any special verdict, they may find a verdict absolutely either for the plaintiff or the defendant. The jury can, at its own hazard, determine the complicated question of fact and law. Because man created the law. So the judge always says, oh no, that's my job. I'll determine the law. You'll determine the law. Dude, I made you. The people made you, judge. The people can determine the law. Believe me, the people made the judge. The judge didn't make the law. People made the law. Judges didn't make the law. So don't tell me what to interpret. Did I create the law? Am I the people? Did I create law? Yes. Judge, did you create law? No, you just interpret law. Who created the law, judge? People create law. There you go. You're just a judge who interpret the law. Hey, we got people on that jury? Yeah. People created the law? Yeah. You interpret the law. You can interpret better than that guy because he's just an interpreter. You create. The creator can tell me what the hell's created. I'm not an interpreter. So it's just a lot of fun, man. Court's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. And whenever I go in to have fun. I don't go in. I'm nervous. I went in a couple of years ago, got a traffic ticket, forgot my California ID. That's all I have. I don't have a license. And forgot it. And usually my ID, they look at it and they say, have a good day. And they let me go. And I still don't know why. But they always look at it and say, oh, having a good day. And they let me go. But I didn't have my ID. And I had to go to Long Beach Court on Ocean Boulevard. And they didn't stipulate for the commissioner. Went to see a judge. 5 deputy sheriffs in there. I usually have a bunch of deputy sheriffs when I'm there. And yeah, I went in there to test out some things. They had a little bit of fun. Had my dad in a wheelchair. We were the only 2 in there. And by the time I finished, I walked out, and the 2 deputy sheriffs were peeking through the doorway down the hallway to make sure I was leaving. And I was testing a few things out, and the judge ended up saying, he was going to file a warrant for my arrest. I said, okay, yeah. Well, you're going to do it. He never did it.
You know what? I'll be very happy to hear from you one day, Dallas, when you say, I met a man in a courtroom that he's a man 24 hours, 7 days a week. He works part-time as a judge, 8 hours a week. But the other 16 hours a day, there's no doubt about it, he's a man. So I met this man in court. He's a judge. I met this man. He's a prosecutor. And this man tried to talk to me as another man would talk to any man. And I told this man, do you have a claim? And this man says he does not have a claim, not a personal claim. So I said, then on what man's behalf are you acting upon? Well, I'm not acting upon any man's claim. I'm acting upon a governmental statutory code. It's like, oh, okay, so you're telling me there is no injured party. So a valid cause of action has to have 2 elements, at least the nature of the wrong and the injured party. So you're telling me that you're bringing a false claim into the court. Oh, so you're telling me you're committing battery. So hopefully someday I'll hear Dallas say this to me just as easily and naturally as I can. And I'll think I did a really good job because you're a really smart man.